Would you believe me if I told you you can make delicious edible cookie dough in less than 10 minutes? Some might argue that cookie dough is the best part of making cookies. It's so delicious, it's impossible to resist. I know my family appreciates it when I make edible cookie dough for them. If you haven't already guessed, today I'm going to tell you guys how you can make edible cookie dough for your friends and family in a quick, easy 10 minutes. Okay, and then for ingredients, you need half a cup of butter, so the whole stick, 3/4 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of brown sugar. It could be dark sugar, brown sugar, or light brown sugar, and then a 1/4 cup of normal white sugar, a whole cup of chocolate chips, 2 tablespoons of milk, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and then 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. The first step to this process is you want to mix your sugars and the butter into a bowl. So I will put my 1/4 cup of white sugar and then my 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar. And then you ideally want this stick to be melted, but it's okay that it's not. We can just mix it in. And then it'll look like this before you mix it. And ideally you want an electric mixer so this process will speed up faster. But today I'm just mix it with the spoon and that should work out perfectly fine. So I'm gonna mix this off camera. Okay, after that is mixed, it'll look like this. And then you add your baking soda in, your vanilla, and then your milk, and then you also need another teaspoon of vanilla and then another tablespoon of milk in this recipe. So I will add that, and then add a little more milk into the thing. And then now I will mix this again off camera before we add the rest of our ingredients. Okay, now I'm going to talk about substitutes for specific ingredients in this recipe. So for butter, you can also use margarine if you're wanting to make this dairy free, and you could also get salted butter if you're wanting to add a little extra flavor. And then also if you don't want to and just want to get a regular stick of butter, you can just use a little pinch of salt if you want to add that to the recipe. While there has always been a safety concern about raw eggs, which is why it's not used in this recipe, there's also been a safety concern about raw flour. According to from an article from Love on the Oven, which is an article about edible cookie dough by Kristen Johnson, there are 2 ways you can help treat this safety concern. So you can buy heated, treated flour from the store, or you can look up a tutorial on how to do it yourself in order to avoid the safety concern with flour. Lastly, on the topic of safety concerns, alternates, and ingredients in this recipe, we have chocolate chips. I used what was recommended, semi-sweet chocolate chips, but you can use whatever chocolate chips you would like. And then also with brown sugar, as previously stated, it is recommended to use the darker brown sugar, but you could also use lighter brown sugar as an alternate, and it shouldn't change the outcome whatsoever, besides maybe a little difference in taste. Okay, this is the outcome of the dish. It is a little darker than normal because we used darker brown sugar compared to the lighter brown sugar, so that's why it's a little off-putting. But you can share this dish with your friends and family or eat it by yourself. It goes nice with some brownies or ice cream in order to maybe spicing it up a little bit. And this dessert, in my opinion, is so much better than cookies. And yeah, this is how you make edible cookie dough.